Growing cut flowers wasn't something I had ever truly planned on. Honestly, had you told me 10 years ago that I would be growing cut flowers for a living, I don't think that I would have believed you. Hey guys, I'm Brittany. I'm one of the sisters behind Two Sisters Flower Farm. We are a small, family-owned flower farm growing and selling specially cut flowers right here in West Michigan. I started growing flowers a little over 4 years ago, and I had no intention at the time of ever turning it into a business venture. I started growing flowers because I was looking for a creative hobby. You know, I feel like everyone expects to hear this big transformative story of how growing flowers was this sort of life-altering decision, but the reality was for me that I just felt stuck in my routine. I was going to work every day and coming home and doing laundry and running errands, and occasionally hanging out with friends on the weekend, and that was all good and well, but I remember feeling like I needed a project that I could just pour my creative energy into. Looking back, I think the seed for my flower growing adventure was always there, but the idea, it just never took root until more recently. I mean, my grandparents were farmers. And I remember my grandmother, she used to have a couple of rows of flowers right in their fields. And then in college, I used to rent this old farmhouse that was ironically located right next door to a U-pick flower garden. And I remember never having much interest at the time in the garden, but always admiring it, you know, from a distance. So I think on some level, it's not surprising that I turned to flowers, but I still laugh at how long it took me to come to that realization for myself. I will say I don't have a naturally green thumb, so of course growing flowers on a large scale, it came with an incredibly steep learning curve. My first growing season, absolutely nothing went right for me. And yet still with so much failure that first year, I remember it being one of the most rewarding projects that I'd worked on in a long time. The light bulb moment for me, going from I want to grow flowers to then saying, well, I want to sell flowers. It came when I realized that not all flowers are created the same. Not all flowers are equal. There's something about locally sourced flowers that it hits different in a way. And it's hard to explain, but I kind of equate it to the idea of how, you know, fresh strawberries from the farmer's market, they taste different when they're in season. It's sort of like that. You know, local flowers, they can offer things like strong fragrance and unique coloring and fun heirloom varieties that you just don't always find with flowers that are shipped in from like all over the world. You know, I am convinced that we don't enjoy flowers based on their beauty alone. We enjoy flowers for the way that they make us feel. You know, flowers, they hold nostalgia of our childhood for us. They hold memories of celebrations that we've had. And it's a big part of why they make us feel so good, that they make us feel at peace, because it's a simple reminder to really enjoy the good that exists in this moment. I always say that I don't think that flowers will solve the world's problems, but I think the value of flowers come in that they help us feel that special kind of way, and that's really their superpower. So our fall farm stand began to take root during our second growing season. Here in Michigan, our last frost usually happens mid to late May, and then our first frost generally hits sometime in early October in the fall. And it's a good long season, but I remember especially early on, like still wanting to selfishly extend our season. I didn't have the money or the experience, honestly, of really building out our infrastructure, building things like heated greenhouses or hoop houses so that we could, you know, farm flowers for a longer growing season. But throwing a fall crop into the ground like pumpkins, that on the other hand, it seems really reasonable. So our second growing season, after the flowers were planted, we planted 4 acres of pumpkins. And again, we really focused on growing a lot of different and unusual varieties. I hadn't planned on our little fall farm stand being so well received by our community, but it was. Our community showed up in such an unbelievably big way. And that's when I had my second light bulb moment. I no longer wanted to be this farm that somehow found a way to grow flowers like year round. Honestly, I think that's what you have florist shops for. And I will say that florists are incredibly talented at their ability to source and design beautiful floral arrangements like all year long. But as a farmer, I wanted to work with Mother Nature to really highlight the best of what's in season. I had this vision that I wanted to be like Starbucks, but with nature. You know, being able to offer these seasonal flavors that help you celebrate the moment that you're in. I mean, let's be honest, a pumpkin at any other time of the year other than fall is just a pumpkin. But during those fall months, those pumpkins and those mums and the straw bales, they create this sort of magical experience, a celebration of the season that we're in. And that realization has been our driving force each and every growing season thereafter. We now celebrate winter with evergreen porch pots, you know, fresh evergreen wreaths, and holiday centerpieces. We grow daffodils and tulips and ranunculus and anemones to welcome spring. We do it all in hopes that it will help you stay present in the moment and hopefully a little bit more apt to enjoy the magic of each season that you're in. I still can't believe that we are entering our 4th growing season. It has been an incredible journey so far, and we are really looking forward to being able to offer you some very special things this coming year and in the near future. So if you'd like to continue following along with our flower journey, we'd love it if you give us a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button below. And until next time, I will see you in the next video.